Oh no, fireworks and stuff.
Oh no.
Chaos. Oh no.
Oh no. Everybody, the podcast is silver. No longer festive this time around.
Well,
Yeah, I missed
it's
my
over.
Christmas hat already.
Yeah.
Your magic Christmas hat.
Yeah, I miss it.
The silver's here. We also have Ross. Jason
Oh,
acted
hello.
like he was going to be here, so one would assume he stumbles in drunkenly at some point.
I fired him off
We
on a
shame him.
firework. I put him on a bottle rocket and he's in space.
Oh,
Awesome.
good for him.
Yeah. You're welcome, everybody.
Well, then he's arriving because we're also in space.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Because of the gimmick.
The gimmick.
Everybody, we had a holiday, a minor holiday, one might say.
Not a big one or anything.
And me and Silver sat down and talked. Pretty much for our one episode for Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we had a merry old time. We all got presents. It was a lovely time. Ross, how was your holiday?
It was lovely. I had to work Christmas Eve, and then I didn't work Christmas, and then I had to work the day after Christmas. And now I'm home.
That
With
is
family
the
actually doing the
inevitability
celebrating.
of Walmart, is you pretty much just work those days and there's no thing to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't typically work those days, they'll find a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll
I've done
find a way.
the Black Friday when it was busy. It's not really that bad a thing anymore, but
No, it's wimpy now.
Thank you, Amazon.
Yeah, seriously.
well, if there was more violence, then I could get into it, but there's not enough violence.
I miss people being
gosh.
hurt horribly.
Have you seen the wonderful movie Thanksgiving? Has anyone seen this?
Oh, no, I have not.
No.
That is basically
Oh wait,
how
yes.
the movie is.
Yes, I have seen that movie. I have. Because the whole impetus of the movie was the Black Friday, where a bunch of people died, and then
Yeah.
a murderer is getting revenge for all the people that died during Black Friday.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like his fiance or something was killed in the Black Friday thing. So he's like killing the people who own the store, and
Well, there
the
was like
daughter
5
of the
or 6
person who was-
people that were trampled to death, and the guy's like fiance had her head crushed.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
it was horrible.
Like a worm.
You know what's funny? That movie was actually kind of fun.
It was fun but dumb.
Well, that's
It's
what you
like
want
the
from
kind
your
of
horror.
extremely, yeah. It was that kind of extremely gory type movie. It's just everything is nuts. Where it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck is happening? That's what makes it good.
I'm going to be honest. What went too far for me is when they cooked that one lady in the oven like a turkey.
Oh,
Yeah, they
gross.
put, like, yeah, they put the weird white things like on her feet, like the turkey legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that classic American horror.
The best part was when they were in the Thanksgiving parade and the grandpa was driving the truck. And it was like the kids in the truck with him. I don't remember what came through the window, but it like speared him through the face. And all the children are like, oh my gosh.
It's a special time. Well, did you get anything special from Santa, Ross?
I got a movie that you and I need to watch, my friend, and I am excited to show you this fine film.
Yeah,
A great Soviet propaganda movie. And if you're listening to me now, podcast
Jason.
listeners, you will hear my beautiful oh, he's here. The rocket landed. Then Santoret brought me a new mic, and it sounds lovely, much better.
Yeah, Jason and
Does,
Ross
it's
sound
great.
better. better than they
Yeah.
were.
That's right.
Yeah, that is right. Silver, how were the holidays? Did you get anything magical? What did Santa bring you?
Uh, uh, let's see. What did Santa bring me? I got a toothbrush. I got
Wow.
You should have played with
Jesus.
that.
What-
yeah,
All right, Tiny Tim.
Yeah. I got a
Tiny Tim didn't even have a
Toothbrush.
toothbrush. What are you talking about?
yeah no. Tiny Tim was even more sad.
Oh.
At least she has hygiene.
Yes.
I just like
I
on
got-
Scrooge to where he got like 3 pounds of veal.
Phones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, some headphones. Some
All right.
Oh.
Beats headphones.
Are you finally going to have your headphone problem fixed, or is this just going to be another version of the same problem?
No, these are different headphones. They're not for Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah. Why?
It'll never be
Hey.
fixed. Well, maybe they could be used for Xbox. I haven't tried yet. We'll see. I
Wow. Why not?
mean, I'm using them right now, but that's because I have the separate mic. So it's just for audio. To listen to y'all.
listen to y'all.
Yes.
Y'all.
What else?
A heat blanket because I'm a girl.
I had no idea.
Even horrible cat kaiju monsters need to get warm.
This is actually kind of
Yeah.
upsetting. I didn't know.
How dare you spring
Sorry
this
to
on us.
break it
Ooh.
to you.
We
This isn't one of those
talk-
whole thing
identify
around drop here
situations.
is
You're just a woman.
I'm just a woman.
All right.
Hey.
Oh,
We'll have to-
Downplay it
based
there.
off of my very feminine voice.
We'll have to deal
Probably
with this
sounds
later.
like a dude.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
So, bro.
Yeah. What
Well-
else? I don't know.
Well, first of all, because we're going to talk about my gifts, she gave me
yeah,
a big sad
Big sad.
book, and I technically gave her a big sad book just really early.
yeah.
So we both gave each other just a bummer time.
Yeah.
It's
I
nice.
gave her the complete
Nice you can do that
silent
for each other.
voice, which is really good.
Nice.
I really enjoyed that.
So good.
And she gave me I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, which
Oh yeah.
I was hoping was going to be a book about cannibalism, and it's just about 2 young people in love and being real sad.
Real sad.
Just make you real sad.
Just real sad.
Did you already read
I'm taking my time. I don't want to rush it.
Okay.
Silver also got
Oh,
a tiny shark for school support.
Oh yeah. Here he is. He's with me right now, my little buddy. Positive mini shark.
He thinks you're fantastic, which I told you at the time.
Yeah, always
The shark's
Thank
opinions
you.
do not
You're-
necessarily reflect mine. So
No.
yeah,
Someday.
yeah. I remember the fine print on that.
well, and also the
Very fine print.
the cat related Christmas mug, which honestly, like Christmas mugs being a thing, it's like, but then it feels off when you use it outside of the year. So I don't.
No, there's a
Yeah,
freaking
yeah, I
cat on
totally
that.
get it.
It's being used year round.
She's gonna be drinking it with her hot cocoa and her cat fur.
In like a 90-degree weather.
And also, technically, I will remind you, Return to Moria, Ross got you, which technically is a Christmas present.
No? Mm-hmm.
Lest we forget,
Christmas.
most of it was, I really want to play this. Silver ain't gonna buy it, so let's just get it to her and call it Christmas. But yes.
Yes, Silver.
I did repurchase the The Elden Ring.
The Elden Rings.
Elden Ring.
The Elden Rings.
The anticipation is
Which-
we are going to finally force her to grind through
Yeah.
the Elden Ring. Me and her.
Oh.
Which we
So,
shall do.
We will
It's
do.
gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. For Christmas, I got the big sad, the one about the cannibalism. Ross gave me the McDonald's mugs from the Batman Forever release, which always seemed like they were a lot bigger than you think they would be. No, they're tiny little kids' mugs, and they're great. They're drinking eggnog out of Val Kilmer.
That sounds great.
Those were those like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, those are the coolest things ever. And you always remember, it's like, oh, if I had money when Batman Forever comes out. You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, but the commercials. I remember those commercials for the mugs. The commercials made them look pretty big. Like
You're absolutely right. They're not even a full can of soda. That's how small they are. They're smaller than that.
Yeah, they're pretty small. I was surprised how small they were. I thought they'd be at least a little bigger.
Well, how much is a can? Like 12 ounces?
Yeah,
12
12
ounces,
ounces.
Yeah, so these have got to be like 8.
So a little tiny can of soda.
Yeah. I have been drinking some Sprite out of it too, which seems appropriate considering
Yeah.
that they're
Oh, yeah.
McDonald's mugs. But I got,
Totally.
I guess the full set is the 4, right? They didn't have more than that.
As far as I could tell, it was the 4. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so Batman, we have 2.
Oh, yeah, and they came wrapped in the bags.
Well, yes, they came wrapped in brown paper McDonald's bags from the time when the movies came out.
that's hilarious.
So it's like, oh no, they're vintage as well. Well, it feels like somebody got them like they were going to be a collector's item, wrapped them in the brown paper bags, and then just put them away forever and never touched them.
Yeah.
And finally realized that they're
strange.
not going to be a vintage collector's item and decided
No.
to eBay them.
Yeah, they sold them on eBay for not a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't exciting for Jason and Ross because I got the mics. What?
No, I love it.
Jason actually
Really
gave
nice
me a big figure from the Deathwing from the Dark Angels, which are my favorite chapter, because the Ultramarines could suck a big one.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, they can. It's a cool figure. It's actually very movable, and you can like replace its head and stuff. I have him posing like he's
Oh.
going to fight Saitama. He won't win,
No, you can never win.
but he's going to
He's not
try.
him. Sure, yeah.
So yeah, good stuff. Stuff from mom. But it's like stuff from mom is usually like a pillow so I can sit in bed and read. It's like an angle pillow.
Oh, yeah.
Read the
yeah.
big
Sure.
sad.
Big
I'm gonna read the big sad. I'm in the process. Sad
Yeah.
you can't rush sad.
Mm-mm.
I got like some bath man smell stuff. Just random.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Squatch or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a man.
I am a man.
Or Man Bar. I bet it was Man Bar.
First of all, Man Bar is amazing. I use it at the gym because it makes me feel like a man. Unlike your questionable
right.
gendered Silver. Yeah, I said it. Jason, how was Christmas? Did you get on your feety pajamas and run down to see what Santa gave you?
No,
Oh.
I can't stand footy pajamas. They would drive me absolutely crazy.
Well, when was the last
But,
time you
uh,
wore
try-
footy
gotta-
pajamas?
Last time I wore footy pajamas, I must have been in grade school at that point.
So
first
your
grade.
your attitudes might have changed. Like you like broccoli
I
as time
doubt it.
goes on. You might be really into footy pajamas.
No, I gotta sleep with.
Yeah.
I can't even sleep with socks on.
Who sleeps with socks on?
Lunatics.
I'm lunatics, exactly. I just can't sleep. with stuff on
Yeah,
my
yeah.
feet.
Who would?
Yeah,
Well,
uh-huh.
it's because
Who would wear their
Silver
giant
has
kaiju socks?
the female disease, where she's forever cold. Well, she has a female disease from
Cripplingly
that part of the
female.
family because our grandmother had perpetual cold syndrome.
Oh yeah.
There was a famous story at grandma's house where there was an unspoken like vicious fight between her and my grandfather as she would walk by the thermostat and turn the temperature up and he would walk by and turn it down. And it was just forever because she was cold
That's one
forever.
of those. That's one of
That
those
rocks.
cliches that you never you never think you'll run into in real life.
No, it does
And
happen.
does.
Yeah, it was super happening. It was almost like what was it? The Christmas Story sort of thing where it's just constant fights over the thermostat.
Mhm.
What else you get, Jason? Besides a mic you can play with
I-
outdoors?
I got it's a Trigun.
The newer series?
The manga.
Oh, the
No,
manga.
no, the manga. Yeah, it's like they came out with a really nice. It's not really leather, but it's a hardback bound version of of each of the series.
I never got why
So
you like
it's
Trigun.
nice.
I'm going to be honest.
No, I get it. It's one of those things. You know, you don't like Calvin and Hobbes. I love Calvin and Hobbes. Trigun's one of my
No, I
favorites.
like Calvin and Hobbes. I think it's good. I'm not obsessed with it.
Yeah, all right.
Don't
I thought you
shrug
said
at
you
this.
just didn't get it. No,
No,
I thought you said
I-
like it just did, not that you didn't get it. Not that it like didn't click with you.
I suppose it certain stories connect with people differently depending on how they were raised and that sort of thing. So it's possible at the time I was like, I just don't get the obsession or whatever. But I thought it was good. The funny thing is you had the complete Calvin and Hobbes. You let me borrow it. I think I read like 10% and then you were like, my kid wants to read it, so I give it back.
No, I don't. That was a Schultz book. I don't actually
No,
have the
it was-
complete Calvin.
Well, I remember it was a Calvin and Hobbes, so maybe you don't have it complete, but it was you who I borrowed it from. Jason's losing his mind in his old age. At any rate, you had a special Christmas. Did you get a bunch of random things made by hand from your
Oh
children?
yeah. Oh no. I got a bunch of random things. Sure, like we do the stocking thing. So I got like some Reese's peanut butter cups, a banana. We always do bananas and oranges for those.
See, my mom used to do oranges and peanuts, and I always used to be confused. It's like, this is a candy. But then apparently it's because she grew up getting oranges and peanuts in her stockings.
Yeah.
So that's why we would get oranges and peanuts in our stockings.
I'm
My
surprised
wife-
at that. I get jerky.
Well, I got jerky this year.
Everybody has a thing. My wife's family did those. I forget what they're called. They're those snack things where they have the crackers in one side and the cheese on the other, and they give you that little
Oh,
red
yeah.
plastic stick. I can't stand those. I
For
think they taste
Christmas?
absolutely, yeah. They
That's
would
something you
put the-
get
it
in a
was one of the
bad
things they
lunch
would-
in the 90s.
It's something that they would get in their stockings,
Why?
and they would have that as like their snack while they're waiting for
your
breakfast.
special
kind of thing.
treat, synthetic cheese.
Mm.
And so
Delicious.
we don't do that because she's the only one that actually would eat them. The rest
Did
of
she
us are
gather
like, no,
you
that's
all
good.
around so you could sing Christmas carols?
No.
You didn't?
No.
That's the funniest thing I
actually
know
something-
about you guys.
That's my in-laws.
Okay.
It's not my wife doesn't do that. But this year, I don't know. My in-laws didn't really do that. They had us come over and everything, and we had dinner and read.
I just always love the image of your mother-in-law making everybody sit around while she played the piano and sing for her.
Yeah, that could be it. It could be that she didn't have us do that because her arthritis in her hands has been acting up quite a bit lately.
Ah.
And so it could be that she can't really play the piano like she used to.
Well, you
So
could be
that
a
could be why we
horrible son-in-law by being like, I miss it, and force her to play through the pain.
No. Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, come
I think I
on.
prefer not singing.
I would sing out of spite. I would spite sing.
Spite thing.
What, you've never spite sung before?
Can't say that I
mean,
cannot say that has
probably.
not happened.
I mean, probably I have. We
I
have
imagine it was
special-
like a school or something.
Well, try it. Spite singing is good for you. Regardless, this is probably the last episode of the year, so it seems appropriate that we sit down as a collective to discuss the events that have happened. So I've got some special things to bring up. I say special to make it sound more important. I've got lists to bring up to talk about how things went. And then we're going to talk about sort of our opinions. Actually, why don't we start with that? Jason, I don't know if you've been thinking about, what do you think?
I have been thinking about that. I was actually hoping that I would have been able to get on sooner and kind of maybe shoot around with you guys. But anyway, I think that the best thing this year, the biggest win, I guess you could say, as far as entertainment goes, would have to be the Deadpool and Wolverine film. Just
that's probably true
well
as far as films.
Yeah.
And then the biggest loser for me, there were so many things to choose from, but for me, the thing that hits home the most would be season 2 of the Rings of Power. The biggest.
It's
I
fair.
almost forget that nightmare happened.
It's been so long.
It's been so long. As far as films that come out, Deadpool and Wolverine is probably the big winner.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the biggest grosser, but as far as like universally seemed to be liked by everybody, it kind of rejuvenated interest in the superhero movies. I think that's a good pick. And Rings of Power continues to be a failure.
They keep talking about superhero fatigue and all this stuff and blaming that on the low ratings for superhero movies and stuff. And this movie proves that superhero fatigue really isn't a thing. It just
bad movie
flies
fatigue.
right in the face of that. It's bad movie fatigue. Exactly. And then, obviously with the Rings of Power, it's one of those things that we knew it was going to be bad, and it did not disappoint in that area. It disappointed in every other area. But it's just if they could hook the electrical grid up to Tolkien's grave, they could be making all sorts of power off of how much he's spinning in it.
He would be a ring of power.
Single ring of power. Ross, what are you thinking? What were the biggest wins and losses this year?
Well, I was kind of rummaging through my brain. And win is hard because I don't want to steal anybody's, but
I'll just do it. You're thinking.
Probably Godzilla -1.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I had 3 on my win list that I was going to pick from, and I think one of them I haven't finished yet, so I don't want to say that one yet, but Godzilla -1 is probably it for me. That was a really surprisingly good movie. I was really happy with it. It made me... I don't know. It was super heartfelt movie. Really
Yeah.
well made. Looks great.
Looks great. Very
Um,
cheaply made.
Uh-huh. As far as fail, I'm also torn on this one. I also have 3 to pick from. On a personal level, I'll say War of the Rohirrim. If nobody
Oh.
says the other one that I have in mind, I might bring it up later. But War of the Rohirrim, because that was the one I was excited for, at least in summer, when I first saw more stuff for it. But after we watched, even before we watched it, we kind of knew it wasn't going to be what we hoped. But I was excited for this idea of an animated movie in the Lord of the Rings universe that talks about a story that hasn't been done yet. But
I think initially,
as we found out,
War of the Rohirrim, before I started seeing anything, probably would have been my most anticipated movie this year.
yeah.
Like, I was just hyped for it. I wanted more. After the disappointment of Rings of Power, I wanted more good Lord of the Rings.
Literally.
It was Peter Jackson related, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, oh, Warner Brothers is going to dunk on Amazon. Let's do this. And then they tripped over their shoelaces and face planted and broke all their teeth. So,
oh, by the way, if you're interested in a long, overextended Rings of Power, Rings of Power, we have every episode reviewed, but
We have that
War of the
too.
Rohirrim, me, Jason, and Ross
Yeah.
sat down and talked about it for 3 hours, which I found to be a really entertaining discussion
yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
on the topic.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one as far as it. When I first heard about it and saw some of the images that they were teasing about it, I was like, yeah, this could be really good. But
Yeah.
it was one of those things where I didn't hold out hope for it being good because of how much the disappointment had just manifested itself in so many other things Tolkien related over the years. So it was kind of this could be good, but I'm gonna hold back.
Have you ever had so much nerd hype for something that when it came out, you were incapable of seeing its flaws?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I got one.
Yeah, what would it be?
And it still
All
holds
right.
true. I recognize there are problems with the Hobbit trilogy. I still like them, though.
Oh yeah.
So you know what mine will be?
I don't care. What's Ross?
Yeah. Mine, and it's funny because it's BioShock Infinite. I was so excited for that game. And when it came out, I was enjoying it so much, and then I just kind of stopped playing it. I never realized why. And then like months later, like almost the end of the year from when it came out, I went to go play it again and finish it. And when I played it to finish it that last time, because I was in the last third of the game, I was like, oh, this is stupid. I hate this. Because I
hated
wanted,
BioShock
I loved
Infinite.
this. Oh, I wanted to love the set. Like the setting was so cool. The time
thought
period.
I
I
liked
wanted
the
to love
setting.
that game.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and it crapped its pants. It was terrible.
Like, I like BioShock 2 more than I like Infinite. And BioShock 2 is
Yes,
just
and-
reiterative of the first one.
Yeah, it's like, well, instead of libertarians, there's communists. How about that, guy?
It's basically a tool so that he can express his grievances about political ideologies he disapproves of.
Mm.
Except for the fact that he presents the communists in a positive light and he shits on America. Did you know
Yeah,
that there were so
as
many
always.
people that were uncomfortable with how he portrayed people like George Washington and stuff in that game that they quit?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Famously, they lost developers because they didn't like what they were doing. There was so much controversy around it that they had to come out with a statement that they're not saying anything, but they're super saying stuff. It's basically
Yeah.
he's like that guy that did Squid Game. It's like, oh, no, Squid Game's amazing. It's like, yeah, but it's a not so subtle commentary on capitalism, buddy. Like let's not pretend it's not. Just like his one movie where they live in the downstairs and murder the wealthy people isn't a not so subtle commentary on capitalism. Just so his other movie, Snowpiercer, isn't a not so subtle commentary about capitalism. It's like he has
he
an
likes those
axe
not
to
so subtle
grind.
commentaries.
It's like this guy has an axe to grind. Shockingly.
I forgot he did Snowpiercer.
Yeah, he did
Forgot that.
Snowpiercer.
Capitalist.
I could see it in Snowpiercer so early. I was like, I know what you're doing, and I disapprove because that movie is exactly up my alley. Dystopian,
Oh, yeah.
post-apocalyptic, drama-filled, and then I'm like, oh. Then you get Ed Harris doing his douchey speech at the end that everybody's a cog in the machine, and it's like, okay, all right, calm yourself. Freaking commie nonsense. All right, Silver, what are you thinking? What's your biggest wins and losses?
Automatically biggest loss is just the worst thing that's happened. Concord.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
That was so freaking funny.
It might go down as one of the biggest financial disasters in gaming. Period. I mean, it just costs
Wow.
huge
Yeah.
amounts of money.
Yeah.
It's just
No,
a
that was
straight
just-
loss by Sony.
Bad. Yeah.
You're right.
And some of
Uh,
us lived through the
yeah.
game crash of the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Biggest win. I don't know how it's currently doing in the box office, but it was crushing it like a week ago. The newest Sonic. My gosh, I saw it. It is really good.
It's actually there's some weird controversy around it. It's actually dominating Mufasa.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so if you're not aware, Disney does these deals with major theater chains that they demand that the theater chains show so many of their theaters showing their main films. And if the theater chains don't like it, then Disney's like, well, then you can't show our movies. So they strong arm them into showing in so many theaters. Well, Sonic 3 was so dominating over Mufasa that Disney was demanding more theaters show Mufasa in more theaters to try and take some from Sonic 3, even though Sonic 3
Oh my
was
God.
kicking the crap out of Mufasa.
Oh my God, Disney never change. Jesus.
This was super happy. So it's good. I heard it's good.
It's amazing. It is so funny.
Me and Silver are basically the Sonic stands here.
Running
I like
around
the
at
first
the
movie. The
speed
first
of
movie was
sound.
awesome.
Keanu Reeves in it is just awesome. I'm so glad he played Shadow.
And massive victories. And obviously,
and no spoilers, but I hope it makes all of you happy that yes, motorcycle plus gun exists.
yeah.
Oh my Lord. Yeah.
Because Shadow doesn't exist as a character unless he's shooting a gun.
Yeah.
And riding a motorcycle, and it happened, and I'm so happy.
Sonic Wick.
I always love going to see those because I'll just go see them on my own, and then my mom will go with me for some reason. And then she's sitting there like, oh, it's fun. And it's like, yeah, no, I get it. You don't understand Sonic. He has to go
You don't
Yeah, no,
understand,
well-
Mom.
my dad also saw it, and I know he doesn't know anything about Sonic, but he was laughing his head off.
Good. See, I love
Bless-
your dad
bless
because he can
Papa
find
Kaiju.
joy in any movie, good or bad. So he could probably have fun at
Yeah. Bless him.
And it's been a special time.
Blessing in that show.
You know what? I sat and I thought about because I could do a big meta conversation about how the biggest loser this year is probably Hollywood and the Hollywood actor. They weighed in really heavily with this last election, and a lot of the reputation that Hollywood has, as opposed to whether or not people give a crap about what they have to say about anything, has been so irrevocably damaged that I don't think their reputation can be salvaged. I mean, Hollywood in general has been damaged. We're talking, we had COVID and then the strikes, and they haven't recovered. I thought maybe personal.
They've just been doubling down on their lunacy.
They are. They really are. They don't understand. This has been a year filled. Like we talk about how disconnected Hollywood is and how they just produce content. I mean, media and pop culture in general, how they just produce stuff that nobody wants. And they've been trying to force basically popular culture to move in the direction they want it to, ideologically, politically, what have you. And that we refuse to do so. And so these things crash. Concord comes out, nobody wants it. We've already got games that do it better. It seems politically motivated and everybody hates it. It crashes and burns. We have Dustborn come out, it crashes and burns. We have Dragon Age come out, and despite the fake numbers, it seems to do poorly because we keep getting like comments from devs saying, well, it didn't do well because there was a conspiracy against the studio.
Oh, yeah, in the media or whatever.
Yeah, they literally blamed it on that. It's like, this doesn't sound like a studio that's doing well. There were many examples of failures this last year. From Rings of Power, a repeat of a failure we had before. We had War of the Rohirrim. We had Megalopolis. We had...
Star Wars Outlaws.
My personal failure... Star Wars Outlaws. My personal failure being Joker 2. I had so much expectation for that. I love the first one. The second one is so bad, it damages the first movie. Yeah, that's how retroactively it hurts it. It does. It retroactively hurts the first film.
This actually led, in part, I had some thinking along these lines. And one of my initial thoughts, I wanted to narrow it down and not do something cliched. So I picked...
No, I'm going to go cliche. But
one thing. I picked one thing that I was like, okay, this is going to be my big loser for this year.
Sure.
But a lot of the things that just did so poorly this year, it just came down to the fans. The fans were the losers this year because of all the crap we've been wading through and all the garbage that they've been throwing in our direction, saying, "Here, you'll love this." And I was like, well, did you actually try to check with us before you pushed this garbage out? Or did you just, pat yourselves on the back and congratulate yourselves on making something that you've, thought was going to be culturally appropriate for your particular ideology and thought we'd just go along with whatever craziness you happen to be foisting at this particular juncture in time? Tomorrow's going to be something new. So that was kind of one of my thoughts just going into this, thinking about who or what was the biggest loser this year.
Well, and we had, it almost felt like mom was giving us something to eat and we're like, but I don't like this. And they're like, you're going to eat what you're given, whether you like it or not. And that's what Hollywood and media in general, it's like they kept coming out with stuff that they expected to do good. And we were like, but we don't want that. It's like, you're going to eat what you're given and you're going to shut up about it. That's like,
listen here, mister.
Acolyte.
Go to your room.
Acolyte, a massive loser this year.
Acolyte, yep.
Do we all forget about Agatha?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Everyone did.
I mean, Snow White's going down as a massive failure, even though the movie's not even out yet. As far as victories, there were very few. This was a year of failures. But as far as good things, it'd be too easy to go the Godzilla -1 because that's a really good choice. I struggled to find something movie-wise. You know what? I really liked Indiana Jones. It's not a perfect game, but it's really good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
That was the other one on my list. And it's really, really good.
It is really, really good. It feels very Indiana Jones. The voice acting's on point. Do I have minor nitpicking? Sure. And it's not a perfect game, but it's a lot of fun. And how often do you get a game that's a first party brand like that, and then it's like, oh, it's actually fun and good? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's the same team that made those Wolfenstein games, and then they made this, and because those Wolfenstein games are kind of declining, it seemed like, especially with that last one, Youngbloods.
Yeah, look, Youngblood sucked. I liked all of the other Wolfensteins, though.
But wasn't Youngbloods like they kind of changed their formula with Youngblood?
Yeah, it was two diverse girls.
Yeah,
So
and even the gameplay was kind of different. It was
I'm
like a co-op
wondering
game.
if that one they pushed that one out and noticed that it did so poorly, and they're like, we need to go back to the drawing board. And then when they did that with Indiana Jones, they're like, let's actually learn something from our failure with Youngbloods. It would be interesting to see what project they take on next, to see if they actually learned something.
Well,
from this
believe
time
it or
around.
not, I don't know if it was a massive victory, but Indiana Jones has done well enough that we're getting word from Disney that they want to do more.
Interesting.
Can't let a good thing go by this
So
time.
who knows if they're going to be successful more or not? But it
Yeah, or if
sounds like
Disney's
they're
gonna
pretty
get their fingers in it
pleased.
more.
They're pretty pleased as to how it's been going.
Good.
But despite that, I would like to go through really quickly some events that have happened this year. With my poorly formatted news. Wait.
State of oh, okay. Oh, there it is.
Okay, we're going to go over Xbox really quickly. I'm going to shift this to the right. Stuff that's happened in Xbox this year, lest we forget. Activision and Bethesda save Xbox, but suffer for it. I don't know if I buy that. Indiana Jones
they're
came out as a
basically first
success,
party.
but Bethesda came out with Starfield, and everyone hated it.
Yeah, that game was crap on
Was
ice.
Black
Dude, that
Ops
thing
6
sucked.
a big salvation for Xbox? I mean, I think it does pretty well.
Yeah, it seems like people like it pretty well.
And Diablo 4 did pretty good for Game Pass. Starfield was not a success.
No.
But Indiana Jones seems to be getting universal praise across the board. Game Pass
I
had a
loved
lot
it.
of problems. They had a lot of failures for their day one Game Pass games. And also the price went up, which is also a big problem that everybody forgets about. They tried to do this Game Pass cross-platform thing, which seemed to be kind of a failure. I have played Game Pass stuff on PC, but the idea that it would just be everywhere and you can have Xbox anywhere is kind of a silly thing. And who knows what the future's going to hold for Xbox. They could have a big year. You know what Xbox essentially needs? Like every console, which everybody forgets about, every time somebody comes out with exclusive, fans sit there and whine, and they're like, well, this is bullcrap. You know, we should have exclusives. Like, there shouldn't be exclusives. And it's like, it justifies the console.
Yeah.
So all
People forget
Xbox
that.
needs is Elder Scrolls 6, and they'll be fine.
Yeah. If Bethesda can actually deliver on it, and that's I think the big question for everybody right now with Bethesda is, I mean, are they gonna? I wonder if there's drastic panicked retooling right now at Bethesda. I mean, genuinely, because I think they've realized because Starfield, but
It was a failure.
well, and before anyone forgets, it doesn't do anything that different from Skyrim or Fallout 4, or other than the story is boring because not everybody likes fucking NASA. But the gameplay and everything is not that dramatically different from what's come before in Bethesda's lineup. So I think they were just hoping they could skate on by doing the thing they've been doing since 2011. And I don't think that's happening. And with the problem with exclusives now, I mean, there's so few. I mean, unless you're Nintendo, I think Xbox is hedging their bets by making Game Pass kind of a PC thing as well. Because I think the reality is, the PC is going to be the winner out of all this. Nintendo will probably still be around, but I think Sony is and Microsoft, as far as their consoles go, I don't know how much longer this is going to go on because it's just. And I say this as a guy who plays mostly on console right now, but gaming on PC is better. There's more options. There's more customizability if you're, if you have the know-how. It's just better. And I don't know. I think modding and the indie games and the more complex games and stuff that you can't get on console are going to be what pushes people out. And because you can still play your Call of Duties, your everything else that's on console on PC. So why buy a console?
Chance stumbles in to say, hopefully Indiana won't be a paraplegic lesbian person of color in the next game. But we did get, in this game, a lesbian of color and there's still time to make her paraplegic. His next comment, I'm looking forward to playing Elder Scrolls 6 in 2055. If you're lucky,
Yeah.
sir. If you're lucky. Jason, you were going to say?
Get hyped.
Yeah.
Get hyped.
As far as the
2055.
as far as the consoles go, we had a conversation about consoles a while back. I don't remember if it was in the context of this podcast or the previous time we did the podcast, but we were talking about how with the previous like console wars kind of thing, it was never against Nintendo. Everybody was going out and they were buying an Xbox or a PlayStation and a Nintendo. And it's like, yeah, we're going to get the Nintendo anyway. But now it's which of the PlayStation or the Xbox are we going to get? And I think that with the way that console software and hardware is running, you're getting to the point where they're basically just PCs, and they're going to have the same power as a PC, but you're still going to be able to have PC. With the a lesser PC. You're with the PC, obviously, you're going to be able to have, as Ross pointed out, the freedom to mod and to use whatever hardware you particularly want. If you want an Intel chip or if you want an AMD, you're going to be able to pick that. Whereas right now, it's whichever one they decide to go with for their particular console. But as the consoles get closer and closer to PC, people are going to stop seeing the consoles as really as separate. In my mind, they'll see them as, well, if I'm going to be gaming anyway, why not get the more powerful machine that can run whatever I want, as opposed to get this console that's underpowered as opposed to my PC. The only thing that I think could save them is really that appealing to kind of the lowest common denominator, where it's like, if you don't know what you want on your PC, get a console.
Well, consoles are easier. You don't have to know anything. It's plug and play. By the way, the Switch, I believe, has surpassed the PS2.
No kidding.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wow.
It's a killer console, and it's sold really well. And the Switch is something I could see surviving because it's like console / mobile. So you can just carry it around and do stuff. And it's branding for kids, and it's safe. Let's move on to PlayStation really quickly. The state of PlayStation 2024 lets us recall we sat under rumors of the PS5 Pro forever, and it had a lot of problems coming out at launch, and it was too expensive. It still hasn't sold out. If you want a PS5 Pro, you can get a PS5 Pro. Let's see. Network and service outages plagued this last year. They had some successes, and they had some massive stinking failures. Lest everybody forget, Concord is a Sony brand. They spent super amounts of money on Concord, and it is just a loss across the board. It is a loss. That Astrobot did really well. I really don't know about Lego Horizon. I think it did poorly. But,
I mean, too. What a weird thing to turn into a Lego game.
Honestly, if I were to say what is the biggest winner this year console-wise, it would probably be Helldivers 2. That was such a massive success. Everybody loved Helldivers 2. It became a thing across the board.
But then Sony tripped over their own dick with it by pissing off PC users.
That's true.
Yes.
By making them geolocate for their PlayStation account or whatever.
Yep.
So
Chan says, I want this console to run on Google's Willow chip so that I can game in multiple dimensions. Yeah, but it connects to your crotch, Chance, so I don't know. You might be into that. The interface is crotch related, is all I'm going to say.
Hell yeah, dude.
And you ask, how does it get to my brain from there? Well, think about it. The Nintendo Switch hat. It says here the Switch is running on fumes. It is doing just fine. It might be.
I mean, do they mean power-wise? 'Cause maybe.
Update, but we're getting a
Yeah.
Switch 2 probably very soon. There have been
Yeah.
rumors hitting across the board that the Switch 2 seems to be coming.
Mhm.
The Switch is still good. Maybe the hardware isn't up to snuff with higher end stuff, but you're not buying a Switch 2 because you want the greatest in ray tracing.
No.
No, it's like you said, it's a mobile thing. You want to, you have to go to the doctor's office or something. You grab your Switch and take it with you. You know, anytime. Heck, Rhett and I, a few years back, we went to Japan. He brought his Switch with us so that we could do stuff. Like we were sitting there waiting in the airport for our flight, and we're playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, we played it on the plane too. It was really awkward to do.
Yeah. And I took a picture of Rhett outside of Nintendo headquarters and
Holding my
Kyoto,
Switch, yeah.
playing his Switch.
It is an unassuming building. It is just a gray block of a building.
Yeah. Just has a fence on the outside.
But Nintendo had bangers
Didn't know
this
it was
year.
there. Yeah.
Just huge bangers. Mario vs.
Huge
Donkey
game,
Kong,
yeah.
Princess Peach, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, where Zelda is the center stage, Super Mario Party
Breath
Jamboree,
of the,
Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship.
what was the? It was not Breath of the Wild. What was the?
Oh, Tears of the Kingdom.
Thank you. Tears of the Kingdom as well.
Was that this year?
Or was that last year?
I thought it was
last year.
early this year.
No,
It was
maybe.
last year.
I think
Let's see.
Jason's going insane.
Possibly.
Chant says we bought our son a Switch for Christmas and he loves it. See, that's the thing. It's a great console for kids. It's such a fun console. I play the Switch probably every day. And that makes it out like I'm just obsessed with. Actually, most of my gaming seems to be PC or Xbox, with occasional. I'll do VR on the PlayStation, or if there's a game specifically. But I play my Switch every day. What do? I probably lay in bed, or while I'm watching stuff, working, maybe doing Dr. Mario or Tetris or something. Something relaxing to sit and goof around with. Chance says, don't forget that there was a Luigi banger outside of a hotel in New York City. I remember that. He was upset with the healthcare system. But up bump. Anyway, let's move on. I heard, you know, funny enough, Chance, who complains that we talk about anime too much. Apparently, Crunchyroll has had their merchandise sales struggling because Sony, who owns Crunchyroll, decided that they didn't like the racier adult manga and toys that were coming out of their store, so they got rid of them and their sales tanked. Almost like anime is pervy related in some fashion or another.
That's hilarious.
I'm just saying. A few
I'm
things
just
to reflect on. I've got a list here. Let me go to the top. Reflect on for 2024. Lest we forget, we had huge games come out this year. Honestly, I forgot to bring up, I loved Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Loved it. That might be my favorite game this year if I were to do a game of the year.
Wow.
Loved it. Never heard of Metaphor Refantasio, but it seems like a Japanese PlayStation something that just is not up my alley. Astrobot won Game of the Year. It must be fun. I'm confused as to why it won. Dragon's Dogma 2.
Money.
What's that?
Money is the reason why.
Oh, grease and palms. Indiana
Probably.
Jones Great Circle did really well.
Sure.
Card game, for some reason, is on this list.
What?
The DLC for Elden Ring was such a huge hit. Like, it sold like crazy.
Elden
when it came out.
Ring. Yeah.
Never played Indica. Silent Hill 2, I heard good things. With a remake to come out.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which everybody forget was a thing. this is a horrible list. Video games. Well, it's my fault for picking it.
Nah.
And I would like to move into some of the biggest disappointments of the year from IGN. Massive game industry layoffs, which was a thing. We kept bringing up.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like every month it was like, this company loses this amount of jobs. And it felt like redundant, but there was huge hemorrhaging in these companies, which makes me go, why are you making controversial games that everyone's gonna hate? By the way, BioWare, who had their big massive Dragon Age game, are anticipating layoffs, by the way. So that sounds like a company that had a successful game.
Oh yeah, totally. That's what you do when you have a successful game. Get rid of everybody.
Apparently, this article is claiming that Concord is a failure of trend chasing. No, it's just a bad game that was already in a market flooded with hero shooters.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of right, I guess, but it's kind of overlooking everything else, like you said.
Yeah. Especially when it's a trend that was already on the outs by the time this came out. They developed it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
That game was in development.
Maybe it's more a failure of corporate not keeping an eye on their developers.
Well, they basically had almost a blank check and ran amok with like weird DI meetings talking about diversity, and it was weird. The stuff was coming out behind.
Oh yeah, the professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who she demanded they call her professor, and she would just hold meetings and teach them about diversity. This is for Concord, the video game, by the way.
That actually, the diversity thing was a trend.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good trend.
I suppose.
And
it wasn't a financially successful one either.
Right. And it wasn't a trend that was market driven. It was a trend that was corporate driven and activist driven. And because it was activist and corporate driven, and it wasn't based on any actual monetary metrics, it failed because it was just a way of hampering yourself rather than actually churning out a good game.
Chant says, don't forget that there was his other comment, never underestimate the purchasing power of perverts with disposable income. You have no idea. There's an argument to be made that the reason why Blu-ray won over HD was because pornography attached to Blu-ray, if I recall.
Well, I think you're talking about the Betamax versus VHS.
No, there was another fight. Because remember, we had the HD DVDs.
Yes, we did. I'm not sure about that one. I do know that that Betamax lost because Sony wouldn't license it to pornography studios, and VHS would.
Another thing you got to remember about VHS and Betamax is VHS had way more space. It was worse quality, but that way you could record a full football game.
That's true.
A lot more time to it. Regardless, PlayStation 5 I would consider a failure. Did sell out, $700 price tag, and apparently there was a lot of promises of what the console could do that didn't seem to come to fruition. There were confusing issues where they would have multiple settings because it wasn't just like quality and performance modes. Developers had added more options with pro patches with confusing names such as Fidelity Pro and Versatility.
The hell?
Remember when you could just plug in your console and play it and it ran slightly better because it was the pro version? I remember.
Yay.
Unreliable reliables. Everybody expected big things like Star Wars to do well, and it didn't. And we got great shows. Original show Shogun was really good. Lest we forget, Shogun is a thing that's a winner this year.
Yeah, totally.
That was a big victory.
Hulu and Disney.
Despite the fact that Mandalorian has sucked lately and Acolyte.
No.
I never saw Like a Dragon, but that was a failure. Apparently, it was
Oh, was it
considered a
really?
bad adaptation.
Man, I'm shocked. Shocked to hear this.
Did everybody forget Borderlands came out?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We had Joker 2, Folie à Deux.
Hmm.
We had Megalopolis, which was just a hilarious failure. See that movie and then
Oh,
see
it
our
was so
review.
fun.
We loved talking about how bad that movie was.
It was delightful.
Delightfully terrible. It has been a stinker of a year, which leads us to our expectations, our anticipation of what's coming out. Now, I pulled up this list. It's hard to say. See, here's the problem. It's hard to say when some of these lists come in whether or not these games are actually coming out.
Hmm.
So let me see if I can't get a better. I don't know. Well, let's use this list. We'll see what we get. I gotta shift this because editing live makes us professional.
So professional.
Yeah.
All right. Something Ross is probably down for. We got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yeah! Woo!
Another Monsters
be
Hunter.
good. I know
Monster
it will.
Hunters, which will probably do well.
Yeah,
probably.
Last one did really good.
Isn't Metal Gear Solid Delta supposed to come out at the end of this year? Am I wrong about that?
I can't remember the exact. Let me
Well,
look
we're
it up.
already at the end of the year, basically. It's only got a couple more days, so it could be that it's been pushed into 2025.
Yeah.
Remember Fable with the unattractive woman?
Oh my god.
GTA 6, which sounds like a mess because it sounds like it's just going to be a horrible, horrible game.
Yeah, I think the rock star of old is long gone.
Clockwork Revolution looked good. I remember that being a standout when we watched the E3 stuff.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're doing new Jet Set Radios and Crazy Taxis, or are they remakes?
They're remakes.
Well, I mean, they'll be good because we know the other games are good.
We are getting a new Streets of Rage and a new
Ooh.
Shinobi. We're going to have a reboot.
Oh yeah,
of
Perfect Dark reboot.
Yeah.
I remember that from the summer. Yeah.
State of Decay 3. One of those games that everybody forgot existed, but that was one of those big games during the Resident Evil 2
yeah.
era, the Onimusha.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that early PS2 days.
I hope they fix the control scheme.
Well, you don't like tank controls, Jason?
They're okay when I'm playing a tank game.
You
We
will
have
enjoy
Gears
them.
of War E-Day, which Ross is psyched about.
Yay! I am. We'll see how they do because boy, Gears 5 and 4 were both nah.
Yeah, behind the scenes, by the way, everybody, me and Ross played all of the Gears.
So many gears.
And by all of the Gears, I mean all of the Gears.
And the DLCs that we could get. And... Yep. Dom!
Dom, stop touching my children, Dom.
Dom, kill your wife! Dom!
But what was our joke that ran throughout it? They kept wanting Marcus Phoenix to save random debris.
Oh, yeah, he's a hoarder. Yeah. No, don't throw
forget
that
to
away,
grab that
Dom!
random trash, Dom. Dom, pick it up.
Dom, don't throw away the to-go box. Dom!
So now we look forward to what we're anticipating coming this year. I've seen the trailer for Wolfman. It seems
No.
okay.
I see a big problem right in the first word there, the name. That's a problem. You know who Lee Wanell is?
No.
And you've seen the first Saw movie, haven't you?
Yes.
You know the guy that's in the room with Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's Lee Wanell. He was, I think, the co-writer, like a buddy with James Wan back in the day. Lee Wanell is an interesting guy. I don't begrudge him any of his success, but I question it.
Captain America: Brave New World will supposedly come out next year.
In February? That's
They
almost
just
as
had
bad as fuck you as January.
4 reshoots at this point.
No.
4.
Good sign, right?
And that's how you can tell it's quality.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes.
So I see it's supposedly coming out February 14th, which traditionally, I mean, not as bad as January, but that's not a good time to have a movie come out. Are they going to bank on the
It's February.
Valentine's Day and the Black History Month thing? Is that what they're banking on?
I bet they are.
Well, it could be, yeah.
Because those are 2 reasons why you'd have that come out. Because I want to say American
It's
Sniper
romantic
came out on
film.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, very.
Yeah,
Oh,
when
goodness.
when I take my wife out to see a movie, we obviously go and see a comic book movie.
Yeah, totally.
Don't you take your girlfriend Ross and see comic book movies?
You know what's
yeah,
funny?
absolutely.
Brave New World is coming out the same day as Paddington in Peru, which doesn't seem like they're afraid of competition with Brave New World.
No.
No. I bet you Paddington does better in Britain than Brave New World. I'm going to make that
Probably
bet
better
right
with
now.
kids.
I bet Paddington does better overall.
We're getting Mickey 17, which just looks like a more
I'm actually
comedic
interested.
version of Moon, but it does look pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
I'm interested.
Moon. Moon's a really good movie. That's depressing. Right up
Well.
my alley.
As it always is.
Yep. Snow White's coming.
Oh,
Pretty hyped.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
The massive
I
star
think this is
power of
it.
Rachel Zegler.
I
Mm.
think this is wishful thinking at this point. They're like, we're gonna. It's coming out in March. Yeah, March.
I think this is a get it out the goddamn door, is what that is.
See,
Minecraft.
No.
That is definitely so. The Snow White. That's definitely one that should come out February 14th. But
It would make more sense.
reasons.
Oh, freaking! They should have. I just thought of a joke, which is inappropriate.
Oh dear. Oh, Rhett.
Isn't it? Isn't it the? Is it the 20th, Ross? Mr.
Oh,
Mustache's birthday. Shouldn't they put that out on the?
oh my God! It is. Yes.
Of April.
Yes, I think it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just hold it a few days
Yep.
for that bump you usually get on our buddy's birthday.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Birthday.
everyone who's a big fan of him.
My favorite painter.
I gotta say that the Minecraft movie looks awful.
Yeah, it looks terrible. Just
really
terrible. I've never heard of this movie. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, this is like that post World War One, like Delta Blues movie where like there's Tommy guns and stuff. I think it's got like there's a supernatural aspect to it.
Oh, okay.
It looks fine. I might see it, but we'll see.
All right. Thunderbolts is gonna
Oh.
suck.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to say they filmed part of this back where I'm from, where I am right now, because some of the cast stayed at our hotel. So
Oh, interesting.
glad they brought money to the local economy. This movie's gonna suck.
Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. I have fun with the Mission Impossible movies. Some of them, like 2, are just terrible, but I'm probably gonna like it and see it. Yeah.
That last one didn't do too well, though, did it?
I enjoyed it. I don't care if it did well. I'm not a shill for the company. It could suck as long as I got fun.
Sure, I'm just curious how it does.
That's
Yeah,
one of the things
there's a question.
with
It'll
the
probably
Mission Impossible movies.
Do well because of the brand and the final movie. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's the brand recognition, it's Tom Cruise, and for the most part, they do, even if the plot is really terrible for the movie, it's like they have fun with it. They
Yeah.
make a fun movie. So
They're over
I'm
the
with
top
you
of the
on Mission Impossible too. It wasn't the strongest of the Mission Impossible movies, but it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it.
That was in that far-flung era of Hollywood where they thought Hong Kong directors were going to be the best ever because of Hard Boiled, and then
Well, and also
Turns
Tom
out they
Cruise
were
shouldn't
wrong.
have long hair, just like Tom Hanks.
but it was the era. Come on.
No. Lilo and Stitch, anybody have any expectations this is going to be any good?
Nope.
No.
Were we all
The cartoon is wonderful, and I wish they would stop desecrating the memories of,
well?
of
First
their
of all,
actual
Jason,
good stuff.
Lilo and Stitch the cartoon. I haven't seen it. Number two, they apparently had a lot of financial troubles with the movie, that there was a lot of cutting of like shadows and stuff in order to get the film out the door because there wasn't a lot of faith in it. And number three, they cut one of my favorite scenes from the film because we had a little incident in September. And instead of the spaceship, they were flying a 747 through the city.
It was actually the cute blue alien that caused 9/11, everybody. The Saudis were a cover-up.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Ballerina, I don't.
What?
It's supposed
What
to be
is
a
this?
John Wick spin-off with a girl.
No.
No.
What?
No.
Don't care.
Silver, how do you
Doesn't
feel
have
about
sad
girls
Keanu
being
face.
awesome? You are gender specific with
Wait.
your praise. You want girls and everything. What do you feel?
Yeah.
So by ballerina, real quick, do they mean like the one scene they had? I forget who it was, where it's like they trained a bunch of girls in ballet, but they were also killers. Is that what they're
No.
going for?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. You hyped to see girls punch people that are twice their size with their tiny little arms?
No, I want Keanu Reeves.
We all want Keanu Reeves. He's got to be Shadow
Don't
right
we
now.
all? Yeah.
Elio.
What?
I don't know. Some
How
weird
is this?
Pixar something. A pirate child. Missing an eye.
I don't care. Also, that name seems grossly Greek, and I don't like that.
Ew.
Hispanic, I believe.
Live action How to Train
Oh,
Your Dragon
no.
was race swapped characters. Yay.
Nope.
Nope.
Don't care.
Pass.
Pass. 28
I
years
love
later. Looks really good.
Probably gonna watch it. I think it'll still be bad, but I'm gonna watch it.
Trailer has sold me. F1, a movie about racing. Brad Pitt. is
Oh,
involved.
Euro racing. Got to make that money that he's losing to his ex-wife.
He owes a lot of money. Megan 2.0, the little girl robot's back, and she's going to creepy dance again in the forest.
I mean, I didn't see the first one, but
Is she
I'm sure
coming
it'll
back?
be fine.
Well, that she was destroyed is the stupid part.
Yeah.
They made another.
She's going to creepy dance, Silver.
That's one of the
Jurassic
things
World
about those.
Rebirth with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, they're switching up people again? Oh.
Sorry, Jason, what was
Oh,
that?
it's Gareth Edwards.
I was going to say that's the one of those things with the robot movies, where the robot is a killer robot. When they do well, they have nothing to fall back on, really, because it's like,
Well-
why on earth would you have this robot that turns out to be a killer robot? Why would you then produce more of them?
Well, first of all,
It makes
Jason,
no sense.
Chucky was the soul of a serial killer trapped in a doll, and he kept coming back.
See, that makes sense.
and
That
then he
soul
makes
of
had,
sense,
Rima
'cause they
Wormtongue?
got that supernatural element, and he wasn't actually a robot. He was a doll animated by the soul of a serial killer. This is basically a serial killer robot that, in order for them to have a second one, they had to have built a second one. It's like, we had this robot, it completely failed
sometimes to
to
get
meet our
a little
expectations.
girl.
Let's make
companion-
another one.
No, sometimes to get a little girl companion robot right, you have to break a few child head eggs.
People.
Yeah, you gotta crack open a few child heads. You know, see what's in there.
to get it to function correctly. What, you think Oppenheimer didn't have to kill some people in order to get the bomb to work?
I think he got it to work, and then they dropped it later. But
And he was
You
so
don't think-
poetic about it later.
Just wax poetic like he was the only person to create the thing, this psychopath.
Yeah.
It's like, first of all, Oppenheimer, there was hundreds of people involved with the project. Don't act like you alone brought about the destruction of man.
So with that the Jurassic Park movie, I like how they're disrespecting Gareth Edwards by like just Rogue One, you know? And it's like, well, you had a movie come out last year.
Also,
I guess it didn't do
hated
super
the
successful,
last
so I don't
two
care.
Jurassic movies. They were just terrible. The only one I liked was
Well,
the first
I-
Jurassic World, and then the next two were just dumpster fire, garbage pieces of cinema. So
Chris
it
Pratt
fits
is
for
becoming,
Scarlett Johansson to be in it.
Yeah. Because who
Superman, maybe. There's a lot of hope on the shoulders of this movie, and James Gunn,
Yeah.
being the greasy piece of shit that he happens to be, we'll see if he can produce a film. He's
I mean, I'm not the biggest superhero guy, but I wouldn't hold my breath if I were anybody.
Well, there's a lot of hope on James Gunn's shoulders with that. Also, we're hoping for a Fantastic Four movie,
Yeah, right.
an untitled Paul Thomas Anderson film,
Really stupid, so you can guarantee that. Anyway,
a
Freaky or
Freaky
what?
Friday
This-
sequel.
no, not another one.
Say, didn't they do that?
Um,
The Bride.
yeah, Christian Bale as Frankenstein.
Oh. I mean, maybe.
Michael Jackson movie, Tron Ares.
Oh, they're trying again with Tron, huh? Okay.
Black Phone, which was good. Do we need a second Blacker Phone? It doesn't. It seems like the
Yes.
story
I
wrapped
was
up.
arrested.
I know.
And
Yeah.
even
It was good.
Oh, more
worser, blacker.
more girl fighting predators.
Don't care. Don't understand the hype behind the first one.
Bugonia.
Begonia.
I don't know. Running Man.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, hey, it's the guy from the Twisters movie with his smolder face. His tiny
So
little
basically,
eyes.
they're remaking The Running Man.
I guess so.
It's not going to be anywhere as good as the Schwarzenegger version.
Yeah,
he is not Arnie.
Apparently, his acting is timeless. Wicked for good. Nobody cares.
It'll do
Zootopia
great.
2. I hated Zootopia 1. Five
One
Nights at
really
Freddy's
crap.
2. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was kind of fun. I
The
hate
children.
Avatar. I hope they all die in a horrific oil spill.
In Fire and Ash. Yeah, they will. Don't worry.
Well, I want it to be like an environmental disaster that kills off their kind.
What? It's Space Valdez.
Yes.
A la
Our
Futurama.
space oil tanker just crashed onto this planet.
the
Oops.
space BP oil spill on Avatar world.
Hurry, our space BP Exxon Valdez, it just crashed. Hurry, Mobil, name all the oil
Except
companies.
this
They're
time,
all-
they're not coming for a special resource. They're just coming to kill blue aliens.
Yeah, we realized we don't need oil. We had a lot stored up, so we just thought we'd crashed onto your planet.
We're
So
bitter about you people. We don't. We
Yeah.
consider it offensive by our kind to have sex with trees.
using your hair.
Yeah. SpongeBob movie. And that
I'm
looks
sure it'll
like
do
our
fine.
anticipation. Not to drag this out too long with talking about the future of what we're going to expect down the road, but there are some interesting things. Boy, there's some interesting things to come up with the news dump. So we're going to news dump really quickly. News dump.
The Distracted Gamer Podcast's big steaming pile of news dump.
Oh,
Take off your
yeah,
pants when you go to the
steaming pile.
bathroom. Anyway.
no, make me.
So, one of my favorite news stories to come out recently, Ross,
No, no. Uh-huh.
and I'm so excited for your response to this. So,
Oh, no.
we have a leaked bit of
Gonna
news
cough.
about Andor and that it cost about $645 million.
So cheap. No. What are they doing? What? Oh my god. What?
Seriously, there is somebody at Disney who has their head in the sand. It's like every time any fiscal responsibility rears its ugly head, they are like, not listening.
Now, I know
Holy-
it
no.
was received mediocre, and I've heard a lot of people say it's very good. The cost alone is shocking, and it has had a weird rippling effect across the internet as people responded to the idea that apparently... Here, let me read. Earlier this week, the media industry was rocked by the news that the cost of making Disney's Star Wars streaming series Andor had hit $645 million, with the $291 million spent on its upcoming second season being the highest sum ever shown in financial statements for an installment of the sci-fi saga. However, it has now emerged that spending also set another record of a very different kind. This author's exclusive about the staggering spending on Andor was reported all over the world by the leading newspaper and trade titles from Deadline, Slash Film, Screen Rant in the United States to Le Figaro in France and IGN Latin America. He's praising himself for uncovering this, but it's pretty special news. They all understood the news perfectly, along with the expert pundit Valiant, blah, blah, blah. However, some social media accounts analyzed it and reached the flawed conclusion that no Star Wars production could possibly justify such high spending. I would be surprised. You'd be surprised the amount of money they're willing to burn.
Oh yeah.
Like
They just think growing on trees anymore.
they will spend $1 million to dig a hole and rebuild the hole when it would be cheaper to just set the money on fire in a hole.
No, new hole.
No, new
We
hole.
got to do it again.
A lot of the other issue is apparently there are rising costs because 58% of Disney Star Wars production have been made in the UK, and the UK is charging lots of money.
Yeah.
The cost alone is staggering, which makes me go, well, how much more are they spending on shows and they're not telling us?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's the cheapest. I mean, are they implying that, like, oh my god, that is insanity. No show should cost that much. I mean, that is absolutely insane.
I looked up, Ross, the most expensive television shows ever made per episode, the cost per episode. What would be your guess is the most expensive?
Oh, Game of Thrones.
What about Rings of Power?
Rings of Power.
Oh, I forget about that.
Rings of Power is the most expensive cost per episode, and we're talking season 1. Adjusted for inflation, it was about $60 million an episode.
Holy shit. That's insanity.
What do you think the second most expensive show ever made was per episode?
God, was it like She-Hulk or something?
You know what? Shockingly, She-Hulk is the third most expensive show ever made.
I'm right in there, baby. Is it Acolyte?
It is Stranger Things season 4.
Oh my god! What?
Yeah, yeah. But after
Those kids
Stranger
got a
Things
big head by season 4.
Here, let me bring it up. Here we go. Then we get Andor. Then we get WandaVision. Then we get
shit.
Severance, House of the Dragon, Seventh Heaven.
Seventh Heaven? Hey? That is insanity. What?
Sandman, that everybody hated, cost millions of dollars an episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was shocked to see She-Hulk as number 3 in most expensive series cost per episode.
Because it did not look that good at all.
And
In fact, there's
who
parts of it that
knows-
look horrible.
Who knows if Andor is now adjusted for the current numbers out?
Yeah.
I
Holy
thought that was
shit.
special news, Ross. That was some special news.
I'm so glad you showed me that. I bet that was burning a hole in your pocket all week, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to share, but I need Ross to be like, no.
Oh my god! I mean, that's insanity.
$645
No wonder they're losing
million.
money hand over fist.
Yeah, Disney doesn't know how to spend money. Hey, guess what? Bob Iger has come out and said that politics is bad for business.
Bob,
Really?
you knew that already, you dumbass.
Well,
Bob.
except for the fact that Bob was part of the problem,
Yeah. Like,
lest we forget.
remember when you set up that other guy, Chipik, to be your fall guy, you dumbass? Like, God.
Well, he blamed everything on him, despite the fact that everything came out. Chapek was not the one to green line. It was all Bob before him.
Huh. Bring back Michael Eisner, you assholes.
But let's read a bit. Walt Disney Company, its chief executive, had made a sharp pivot since doubling down on diversity inclusion efforts in the wake of George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis 4.5 years ago. At the time, Disney's top executives, included then Chairman Iger, vowed in a message to employees, "We intend to keep the conversation going for as long as it takes to bring about real change." Now, politics needs to get out of our stuff because it's bad for business.
Oh
You
no,
think?
nobody's buying stuff anymore.
You think? Magic
We've been
Kingdom
telling them
dropped
this
its-
for years.
Yes, I know. Magic Kingdom dropped its pomp greetings to fans for its nightly fireworks display. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Became a gender-neutral salutation to dreamers of all ages. They no longer say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
No,
Pixar's animated movie Lightyear had a brief two women kissing.
but not in China.
Strange World. Did everybody forget about Strange World and how everybody hated that one with biracial?
Oh
queer
yeah, that one ate a
hero?
big one.
Yeah, it lost
Yeah.
them a lot of money.
Oops.
We had Indiana Jones. We had other Pixar
Oh
movies
my
to come out. We had the Star Wars movies to come out. How many failures? And then you have a massive reshifting of the political spectrum, and they're like, "Oh no, it's not popular."
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah,
when
and then their
they
fight
made-
with Florida.
Yes, where Florida basically had this transgender bathroom policy, which caused Disney to cause a fit, and Florida cut off their so they were given a special district, almost treated as if they were a city in and of themselves, which helped save them like $1 billion or $2 billion.
Yeah.
And Florida went,
Right.
look, if you're gonna crap talk our state, we're gonna take away your special status. So to tell you how big a deal it was, they were treated as if they were their own city and had their own police force and fire department and could manage themselves and tax themselves their own way. They were so independent that it was kind of gross. And you might ask yourself, why was it set up that way? Well, that's because back when Disney was alive and he set up Epcot Center, his intention was to create Epcot Center as sort of an experimental city to do like things of the future, to do cool experiments, to build a city, to try new things. So it was all about innovation. He died and they turned it into a park. That's what Epcot Center eventually turned out to be. But they retained their special status, and everybody thought, well, there's no way they would get rid of it. Disney might threaten it, but they're not going to leave Florida. It would cost so much money. So them...
Oh, they have so much invested already. It's crazy.
Right. So them crap talking Florida and DeSantis ended up losing them massive amounts of money because they just took away their special status in Florida. So now, basically, Florida's government came marching in, and they're like, well, we're in charge now. So no. And it changed everything, and all of that money went out the window. They were setting it on fire. All of these decisions by Disney to be political in the last how many years have cost them so much money.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to handle it. But, this is the world we live in.
Disney
the
is
reaction
rolling in
to
his grave.
Rolling.
In his hyperbaric chamber or whatever.
I have a story I would like you to respond to, Ross. From Variety, Adam McKay is saying that Wicked could be banned in 3 to 5 years if America keeps going on the track it is. I wouldn't be surprised.
What?
The
What,
filmmaker
A
Adam
girl
McKay
flick with music?
is claiming that he wouldn't be surprised if they banned Wicked because of its LGBTQ cast in America, because he thinks we're all going to turn into swastika flag people.
Hey, Adam, sweetie, gay people have been in movies forever. What are you talking
he
about?
thinks that because Trump's getting elected, that we'll start banning LGBTQ movies.
Why would he get what?
No.
No,
Wouldn't
like,
be surprised.
hey, Adam, sweetie, gay women have been making out on screen for a while now. What are you on about? Like, that doesn't even happen in this movie. Why would you?
This is fear-mongering demagoguery to its extreme.
Wait,
No-
what does that say about Kuwait?
Oh, apparently it was pulled from theaters in Kuwait because of the LGBTQ cast. And because of that, he was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that in America soon.
Well, you know, when we turn radical Islamist, I'm sure we will, Adam. That's right, honey.
Yeah, that
you're,
seems
you're
like
absolutely
something
right.
that's going to be faster than us banning LGBTQ individuals. When it's not even an LGBTQ film, it's just LGBTQ individuals are in it.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, oh my god, that is so annoying. What an idiot. I mean, he's just so desperate to be
Relevant.
and like a victim. Like, what a moron.
In an exciting turn of
I
events...
can't say.
Go ahead, Jason.
I can't say that I haven't seen other people jumping on this bandwagon. There were people.
Paranoia.
Oh, there were people all over YouTube, just going off on the most obviously, you know, none of these things are going to happen that you are so afraid of. It's like, I understand that you are afraid, but at the same time, it's like, can you actually think? How can you actually think that any of this is going to happen? It didn't 4 years ago. Why would it now?
Irrational paranoia?
Everything's
Exactly.
changed. Everything's changed.
Tom Hanks fled the country.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
What? Like, you know what's funny to me about Adam McKay saying that is like, oh, this is going to get banned. It's like, well, but you know, it did happen. The kind of comedies you used to make nobody wants anymore. So congratulations. You did it, Adam McKay.
In an exciting, shocking turn of events, and this is true, this is no rumor, Star Trek Discovery is no longer canon.
Oh my god. How desperate are they? Holy shit.
So yes, it was such a failure that it is no longer considered canon in the traditional timeline.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yep.
Well, you know what? The problem is Paramount that as long as you have Anson Mount at the head of your latest and your biggest Star Wars or Star Trek show, I'm not going to watch it. So
People so hated the Klingons that the Klingons aren't canon the way they look in this show.
holy god.
They're going back to the old school
That
Klingons.
is- You know who I feel bad for?
The OG series Klingons?
No, I feel bad for Jason Isaacs because remember he was in that first season, and he actually seemed kind of interesting as a character. And unfortunately, he was attached to the worst Star Trek show ever.
The announcement trailer for Naughty Dog's new game, Some Space Something, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. Horrible name, by the way.
Mm.
Apparently
Yeah,
now
it
has
sounds
more
weird.
dislikes than the Concord trailer.
Oh my god! Holy shit!
People
Nice.
apparently still are bitter about The Last of Us 2.
Oh, did you see they posted on Twitter their like Christmas card with their characters, and they didn't have Jack and Daxter on it or anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
You
What
know what's
idiots!
one of the biggest problems with making a game that's controversial or making anything that's controversial? where people react really poorly to it, is it damages future content.
Oh yeah.
Because you develop a bad reputation.
Yeah, there's a reason why that was kind of held by much smaller, more indie artists and creators and stuff, because it didn't affect them as much. But when you're a big company, like, that's a crazy risk.
Apparently, ex-Pixar staffers were crying over the fact that they removed the trans storyline from the upcoming Pixar show.
Good.
Oh my god.
They're
People
really
need to get a
upset
life. Oh my god.
that they have modified this and they're erasing trans stories.
It's a show for children. Calm down. Like, god damn. Yeah, it's a show for kids. Like, who cares? Like,
But we've got
there's
to
plenty of those
start
stories.
young.
Yeah.
A story I really enjoy is a currently leaving Sony executive, the CEO,
Oh.
came out and said he doesn't understand all of the hate over Craven and Madam Web because they weren't bad films. Ross,
No.
what would be your guess as to why, what he thinks happened?
Let me guess. The media conspired against Sony Pictures.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Oh my god. Wouldn't you know it?
Apparently,
Really, it was the media.
yes.
He's
Well, let me
blaming
read.
the media.
He said he talked to the LA Times and said that Craven the Hunter was probably the worst launch they've ever had. In his almost 8 years at Sony, I still don't understand because the film is not a bad film. Despite him, star Aaron Taylor Johnson and director J.C. Chandor are making a please come and see it. It's good. It's not good, by the way. It was savaged by critics as a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fans gave it a 74.
Wow.
Its performance has been dismal, bringing in only $43 million worldwide. If that's not enough, Vince Sequeira goes on to extol the virtues of Madam Web as well. It's just to touch on Madam Web for a moment. Madam Web underperformed in theaters because the press just crucified it. It's not a bad film.
Oh
it did great on Netflix. Well, because it was memed. That's why people watched it on Netflix. It didn't do great because it was
Now it's
good.
free.
It did great because it was bad. For some reason, the press decided they didn't want us making these films out of Craven and Madam Web, and the critics just destroyed them. They also did it with Venom, but the audience loved Venom and made Venom a massive hit. They are not terrible films; they were just destroyed by critics and the press for some reason.
Hey, is this the CEO that got tricked into releasing the terrible vampire movie twice?
Yes.
Yes.
That
Nice.
it was so memed
What a
on
guy.
the internet that he thought it was popular, so they released it a second time, and it still did poorly.
Because I guarantee you, he had to greenlight Morbius getting a second release.
Oh, morbid time.
Yeah.
I
Unshocking.
thought that.
Go ahead, Jason.
I thought that the media was like totally telling us we should go see Madam Web.
That's how I remember
Well-
it.
Did I miss that? Did I not remember that right?
Well, they were, because it was a strong woman story. Like, the media wasn't undermining him. You know what's undermining him? People who hated the stories and didn't like what they were doing.
Well, and is this
Well,
idiot
obviously.
confusing reviewers with like media coverage? Like, that's two different things, isn't it? Like,
Well, he said the
you
media,
bought the good press, dummy.
the media had an agenda to go after him, according to him.
Yeah, they're picking on poor little Sony.
Poor little baby Sony. You know what's the problem? These are Spider-Man movies in the Spider-Man universe
ain't no
without a
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. That's the problem. Guess what? Morbius isn't interesting. Well, you could do a Morbius solo movie if it doesn't suck. But Madam Web doesn't exist without Spider-Man. Venom doesn't really exist without Spider-Man. Craven doesn't
No.
exist without
Neither does-
Spider-Man. I don't want a misunderstood Craven movie. Craven's a villain who murders people. I don't need a
Yeah.
Craven movie. It's like they don't understand. I'm sick of these misunderstood villains. They're bad guys for a reason. They
Yeah.
can't stand on their own. They need to have Spider-Man to fight. There's no reason we should be getting a Craven movie. we should be getting a Spider-Man fighting Kraven movie. Guess what? I am not a fan of Venom becoming a heroic character. He's a villain. He eats people. He's always been a villain. And you might go, well, it's canon in the story because he eventually becomes good. Yeah, that's also shitty. I didn't like it in the comics either.
Yeah. Say, isn't that in that weird era for Spider-Man too, where it was kind of eating a big one?
It's in the 90s. The 90s is when Venom started changing and becoming a more anti-hero than villain.
After all the people he ate, that can be excused, I guess.
Yeah.
See, apparently Charlie Manson can be forgiven as long as he starts helping people at disasters. He starts showing up for Hurricane Katrina or something, and they're like, well, we'll forget it. We'll let it go.
Tinfoil blankets. I trust him.
I trust him. But the nerve to suggest that these movies are failures, not because they're bad, but because the media decided that they were bad.
Mm-hmm. What an idiot.
Venom sucks.
I mean, doesn't this just come off as like, well, I didn't screw it up. They were just picking on me. And it's like, buddy, like, what are you doing?
Former child.
Trying to back excuse a failure of yours?
I mean, Sony, other than when they do stuff with Marvel in conjunction with Marvel, I mean, since 2016, they've been stepping on their own feet. Like,
in a strange turn of events, Sega titles have been pulled from online storefronts across the internet. There is speculation that they are going to turn it into a streaming service, so all of their titles need to be accessed streaming.
Ew, please, Sega, don't. I beg you. Please don't do that.
But
I would rather you come out with a console again.
Yeah, their stuff has been disappearing across the internet. You know what's a fun story? Ross, do you remember the Batman?
The Batman with Robert Pattinson? Why, I do.
And remember, we had a TV show with the Penguin that was so massively popular, it was outpacing every major show. Everybody loved the
wasn't
Penguin.
It number one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you might think, well, we need to rush out the Batman 2. It looks like it's delayed till 2027.
Holy shit. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, there's some speculation. I wonder if you can figure out what everybody thinks is happening. Why do you think it's delayed?
Well, the reason I hope, because this is the only thing that is excusable, is that Robert Pattinson is booked until 2027.
Maybe.
Or at least to get him out in 2027.
I'm going to tell you.
Because it's the only one that's reasonable.
I'm going to tell you that James Gunn said that the reason why we haven't started filming is because, what's his name? Rodriguez that did the first one? Hasn't finished the script yet, which is baffling.
What an idiot.
What do you mean he hasn't finished
So get on his ass. How complicated does a Batman movie need to be?
Well, so ask yourself something. So to anyone who isn't super aware of James Gunn, though, makes some fun movies, lies a lot and makes up stuff a lot and is kind of a greasy douche. Now, you might ask yourself, what do you mean he lies a lot? There's a famous story where he came out and they were talking about doing the DC movies and how he loved the relationship they had with Ben Affleck. And he said, we've been talking to Ben Affleck. We'd love him to direct something. And then somebody asked Ben Affleck and he's like, no one's talked to me about anything. And I wouldn't work with them if they asked me to.
Oh, dear.
He makes stuff up. James Gunn famously has just told absurd lies across the internet about things that are happening that are not happening. He did it with friggin' the guy who played Superman. Told some stuff. Is like, no, he's
Henry
not
Cavill.
gone. Yeah, Cavill, and Cavill's like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh my god, how embarrassing.
James Gunn is going to do a new Batman with the new stuff. I don't think he wants Batman 2 to come out.
Yeah.
That's entirely understandable.
And I don't think he likes that Penguin did really well. I think he wants to do his own Batman. And this conflicts with what he has coming out on the road. There's no excuse that a movie that came out in 2022 is going to come out by 2027. Literally, what's his name that played the Penguin? He said he filmed
Colin
scenes for
Farrell,
the
yeah.
second one. It's believed that they probably hashed out the story for the first and the second one around the same time, and that they already had an outline. And apparently James
my
Gunn is out
God.
there saying, well, we haven't got a script yet that we're happy with, or that he's not done with it yet. I don't believe you, James Gunn. I think you're delaying this film so that it doesn't come out because you want to do your own Batman movie. Matt Reeves is the one that directed the first one. Sorry.
And what a dickhead to like throw the previous director under the bus like that. Like, well, he hasn't given me a script yet. Like, what? Just say we're still working on it. Just like that's a lie still, but do that lie because it's believable. Like, and you're not being a dickhead to someone who's supposedly a coworker.
I think he was going to try and bury this movie, and Penguin did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Farrell is expected to show up at Batman 2. Colin Farrell will be 68 when this comes out in 2027.
What? He's that old?
Yeah.
Wow, that Irish man is aging great. Good job.
Yes.
Good for you, Colin.
Good for you, Colin. Yeah. Colin's going to be creeping up on 70 by the time we get a Batman 2 in 2027.
Holy shit. I mean, they might have a season 2 of the Penguin by then.
Yep. And that's a problem. I don't think he wants to see a season 2 Penguin. I think Gunn wants it to be all Gunn across the board. I think that's what Gunn wants.
Well, it makes sense. The thing is if he's got a specific vision, and it seems like he does, if he has a specific vision for the DCEU or whatever they're calling it now, then he wants everything to basically fly under his banner. And Batman, since it was before he kind of took over, and Batman 2 is with people who were there from before he took over, it's not really flying under the James Gunn banner. And so, yeah, it's totally understandable that he would want to kill the movie so that it never gets made, so that it doesn't contradict anything that he's trying to do with his version of the DCEU, which, as we've said before, doesn't make any sense.
Jason, the last DC superhero movie to make money, not lose money, was the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because lest we forget Aquaman 2, lest we forget The Flash, lest we forget Black Adam.
Which he said The Flash was good too, remember that?
He said The Flash was one of the greatest superhero movies he'd ever seen. And it sucked so hard.
Yeah, it weren't good.
The Batman is the last successful DC. It made money. It made pretty good money.
Right.
I liked the movie. Well, it's not my favorite Batman, but I thought it was pretty good.
And see, he can't have that.
No,
he can't have that on his watch, basically.
Conflicting with his vision of what he wants Batman to be.
Yep.
The thing is, to me, just get it out as soon as you can, and then go like, "Yep, okay, that's done and over with. Bye," and then move on, because you can make a couple of Superman movies, maybe do another hero or something, and then start pulling in the other ones to make the Justice League again. But delaying it's only worse.
He wants to make, what is it, the
Authority,
or
I
forget
whatever.
what's it called.
The Authority.
He wants to make the Authority. He doesn't want to make the Justice League.
Triple H?
By the way, it feels like the Penguin is one of those projects before he took over that he had to put out because of contracts and they had to finish. And then I don't think he liked that it was the most loved thing across the board. It's a really good show. It's well acted. It's well written. It is a Matt Reeves all down the row. Penguin is probably better than the Batman a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Oh no, I don't like that, because now WB is sitting there going like, oh, maybe we should make more Penguin. You can't do that in a universe that you're killing.
Yep.
And the thing is, Warner Brothers is going to want more Penguin
Yes.
because it's doing well for them. And everyone is struggling with streaming shows right now. Everybody.
Yes.
And Warner Brothers is especially eating a big one money-wise. So they're not going to want to give that up.
No. I wonder what happens here. To announce that Batman 2 is being delayed until 2027? Excuse me?
Ugh.
It makes me wonder if they're just going to... I mean, granted, they probably had a huge contract with them that's too much money.
What if
But it
it's
makes me
good?
wonder if... Yeah, well, right. But it makes me wonder if they... what do you do? Get rid of Gunn and just be like, look, anyone can make a happy, optimistic Superman. Just try and incorporate this horrible, depressed Batman into it. God damn it, it's making money.
Well, we don't even know Superman's going to be any good.
Yeah, it could be shit. And if it is, that's even funnier.
You know what's funny? All of the stuff that Gunn worked on prior to the new change to the new universe remains canon in the new universe. All of the stuff previously is no longer canon. So that might ask yourself,
my
well,
God.
what is that? Remember the Suicide Squad movie he did?
Yeah, with the polka dot
Yeah,
man.
that gets to stay in canon.
Oh, of course.
Do you remember
Peacemaker?
John Cena, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stays in canon. And there's some weird thing with that show. I know this is going to sound stupid. I don't remember exactly how it plays out, Ross, but it's something because they've had a few the one season, a few episodes, but it's something like a couple of the episodes are not canon, but then a few are.
What?
Yes, for Peacemaker.
Oh my god. What?
Yeah.
Oh, the wiki,
So
the
some of them
fan
are just
wikis
fever
are going to be
dreams.
hilarious.
Let's see if we can't find it. Peacemaker canon. Because I heard somebody break it down. I don't remember how it happened. James Gunn clarifies that almost all of Peacemaker is canon. Of season 1.
Oh my
Which
god.
episodes are not canon, James Gunn?
Oh my
The ones I
god.
didn't have anything to do with.
The ones
I just
I
find-
didn't like.
I find it hilarious that he worked on it. He's like, no, that's part of my new universe. It's like, excuse me?
What a dickhead.
So yeah, not all of the episodes are canon, but most of them are.
He should have stayed canceled for the dead baby joke on Twitter. Fucking idiot. God damn.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we have had another show that he wrote that has come out called Creature Commandos, and guess what? It sucks. It sucks so hard.
Imagine my shock.
You know what's funny about Creature Commandos? At the end of the episodes, it has an animated version of him kicking his feet up with his hands behind his head, being like, yeah, I wrote that shit.
Oh my god.
I was like,
Dude, you know what that reminds me of? But a douchier version of it? Like this James Gunn one is douchier. You remember the Spawn TV show that was on HBO?
Yes.
When it always started, the episode started out with the writer and artist of Spawn, like imagine you're drugged down to hell, but you're made a deal with the devil. Like, you know, like he always started it out the episode talking like it's fucking Twilight Zone or something. It's like that, but douchier. What an idiot!
well, if you watch the Superman trailer, watch it carefully, because the musical sting hits when it says directed by James Gunn. It goes, "Bwah."
Oh my lord!
He's the important one.
Yeah. Here's the
Well,
thing.
he is. He's the
Well,
only
He's
one that
made
matters.
some
Yeah.
good movies. Behind the scenes, he's kind of a douche is the problem. And I'm not 100% confident. I am desperate for a good Superman movie. And I think the response to the trailer is the world is desperate for a good Superman movie. It's just, they don't understand how to write good Superman. All-Star
Well, it's
Superman's
not,
a great story. Do that.
Yeah, it's not dark and gritty and dour
Cynical
and jaded.
Well, guess
Yeah.
what? The new Superman movie is dark and gritty and jaded because he's fighting like an authoritarian superheroes, and he's showing up as a new positive, hopeful superhero. Were you here last week? Because so James Gunn came out with a statement that apparently he sees Superman as an example of America, that we're downtrodden and we're beaten down, but we're hopeful. And I was like, oh Lord, James Gunn. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't think I heard that on the
Person who doesn't
episode, but you told me that.
understand
Yeah.
Don't look good.
What a dickhead.
Well, despite all of the controversy surrounding the new Witcher game that's coming out, the Witcher 3 directors and devs have left to make their own studio.
No. Things are all coming together for Witcher 4.
Yeah, I'm not confident. You want to know some other interesting news, Ross? So famously, the writer of the Witcher series is not a fan of the games and is really pissed off that he didn't get a bigger cut because he's a cynical douche who just is out for the money. Whether or not you
Andrzej
like
Sapkowski.
what he has written. Yes. So people asked him his response to sort of the reaction of Witcher 4, and he said he wasn't consulted and he doesn't approve.
Which, if he hadn't been such a dickhead in years past, that might count for something, but that means nothing, so fuck him.
It's
okay.
It's not a good place to start if he's not happy with what's happening with The Witcher 4.
No, and it is telling that they didn't consult him at all to continue the story.
He probably wouldn't have approved. Because as much as it makes somewhat logically that you would have her show up as a main focus of the story is about Geralt is the problem.
Yeah.
Even if she is Witcher Jesus.
Ugh, God.
Love it. I think 2025 is looking positive. What do you think, everybody?
Oh, it looks great.
Obviously,
It has potential.
Awesome.
Yeah. Some people just haven't learned their lessons from 2024. Either that or they put these things in motion and they, at this point, if they stopped, they would be losing so much money that it doesn't make any sense to stop and they just have to go forward with it and take a
carry this
smaller
metaphor.
loss.
We're on the train of bad decisions coming out of a hyper-political era. And you can either ride the train right through the audience and kill a bunch of people and no one's going to be happy, or you could stop the train and kill a bunch of people and no one is going to be happy. Either way, that train is a bad train, and I don't think it's going to succeed. And I think 2024 was the worst of the hyper-politicized, woke, ideological. I think 2024 was the worst of it. It was basically increasing every year. I think 2024 was our fever pitch across the board.
It's certainly where some of the dumbest stuff has come out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Video games, movies, all of the worst stuff came out this year. All of the worst.
Yeah, it's where the consequences have been more apparent for sure.
Mass layoffs across the board. Hollywood and video game industry. Consequences. I mean, can you think of bigger failures 2023 than we had here? Concord?
No.
In video games, no. Well,
Acolyte
when
was
did Obi-Wan
canceled
come
before
out?
it was done.
That's true. That's
When
true.
did Obi-Wan come out?
Was that 22 or 23? I think it was 23, wasn't it? Let's see.
Obi-Wan TV show. Well, that's a Reddit post. 2022.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, then I think you're right.
Acolyte was a big thing. We had Agatha.
Yeah. Rings of Power Season 2 did nothing to improve it.
No. Got
Nobody
worse.
cared. Less people cared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't
The
think there's
War of
any
the
salvation.
Rohirrim.
War of the Rohirrim.
Mm-mm.
Big disappointment. Joker 2.
Joker 2.
Massive disappointment.
Huge disappointment. Mm-hmm.
Went from a movie that made $1 billion that was such a massive failure that it went to streaming almost immediately. It looks like WB lost as much money as they made on the first one.
Oh my god!
Holy cow!
Because they made a
That
very
is
poor
insane.
deal with the first one, that most of the money, I think it was 350-ish million, and they ended up losing about 350 on the second. On a $1 billion movie. But yeah, so
What idiots!
what idiots. So is there anything? I'm going to go down the list, and then we're going to end it for the last episode of the year. But Jason, is there anything we're looking forward to for the next year? Anything you're hoping?
I'm hoping that a lot of these companies have come to their senses.
Lost enough
And,
money that it's no
are-
longer financially viable.
Yeah. Basically, that they're coming back around to the fact that they're entertainment companies, and if they are not entertaining their clients, their customers, us, then what is their point? And I'm hoping that this will cause them to pivot and throw away a lot of the mistakes. Throw that stuff away, learn from their mistakes, and actually bring us good quality entertainment. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not really seeing a lot of that yet, but it's still early days. We haven't even made it to the new year yet.
Oh, by the way, the Batman is not only 2027, but October 2027.
Oh my gosh.
Ross, what do you think? What do you look forward to in the coming year?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I hope Gears E-Day is good. As far as movies go, there's not a ton. I'm gonna be honest. I'm more excited for video games next year because I think movies they're at a pivoting point right now.
I'm hesitantly hopeful for Severance Season 2, which has taken way too long to come out, and there's too much expectation that it's probably going to disappoint everybody.
Yeah, that's the problem with doing that so long.
I've got Apple TV temporarily because we're watching Silo, which is good. I'm liking Silo Season 2. I heard it's not as good as 1, but I still like it. And we're only a couple episodes in. Ross, you should almost come over and we should sit and watch Apple, or I should just drag it to your house or something.
Right.
Watch Severance. Severance is a blast.
Okay.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Part 3. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it's a 2025.
Oh, that's
Should
right.
be. Goodness, what else? Not too much stand out at the moment. Metal Gear Solid Delta, probably.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Suikoden 1 and 2 remakes are coming out next year, March. So I'm excited.
Oh, psyched. Silver, what do you think? What are you looking forward to?
Nothing in particular is really standing out to me, but
Yeah, that's the problem.
I hope we get some good stuff just kind of like randomly springing up throughout the year. Less failures in the movie industry. That'd be
Absurd,
great.
massive failures.
Yeah.
You know what you could look forward to
Just
this
less
coming year?
failures.
Huh? No Rings of Power?
Oh, thank
Oh
God.
my gosh. We get a year free?
Oh,
Yeah.
Dobby is free.
You gave him a
Dobby
sock
isn't
and
free.
Dobby's free now. He's going to run and
Maybe
frolic
a
until
crusty sock.
he gets re-enslaved.
Let me bring you back down.
2026. We will
2026.
we will get another Rings of Power season before we get the Batman.
The Batman 2.
At this point, if the Batman comes out, I will be surprised.
I believe it or not, I watched
I
it
think-
yesterday. The first one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like it.
I think
It's got problems.
it will.
but
I think
like
it will be killed.
Well, and then will it live up to expectations if we get a second one?
Mm-hmm.
Last DC
Probably
movie to
not.
make money. Everybody expected Joker 2 to be a banger. And Joker 2, I think I'm going to end with as my biggest disappointment again. I had a lot of hope for that film, and it just did not. It did not produce.
Yeah,
what a disappointing.
It was shockingly
crap year.
bad.
It was shockingly bad. What a really crappy year, Ross.
Yeah.
It
When comes
was.
to
I was thinking
popular
back.
culture and media, it was terrible.
I think I went to more bad movies in theaters this year than good ones.
Absolutely true. I don't think I went to any good movie. Well, Godzilla -1. 3 bad ones though. I probably only saw like 4 or 5 movies this year.
Well, I'm thinking on it.
Sonic. Save
Sonic.
yourself.
And I'm thinking on it. I think the good ones I've seen, other than Godzilla -1, are old. So they're like re-releases of old movies. So I don't know if that even counts. So mostly crap. Yeah. Oh, except for Deadpool. Deadpool and Wolverine was fine.
Oh yeah, I liked Deadpool and Wolverine. Is the story have problems as well? Yes. Still enjoyed it. I had fun. That's the last time I actually remember laughing in the movie. I saw Beetlejuice. It is not as good as you claimed it was.
It's not as good, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was okay with it.
You
Faint
Beetlejuice
praise.
apologizer.
I expected it to be so much worse, though, considering this year.
That's true.
I was okay with it.
The movie's redemption was it was fun to see Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was no Beetlejuice, that movie would be awful.
In a strange turn of events with complaints that there's not enough diversity, when apparently souls pass from limbo, they go on the soul train and there's a bunch of black people dancing with afros and big pants.
Oh my god.
Literally.
And nobody
It's the soul train.
and nobody thought, this might be just a little bit racist.
No,
Nah,
they're
it's
super fine with it.
Ours.
Oh, remember the guy that was in the other one, the dad, who had controversy around him and little kids and pictures,
Oh.
Remember that? The entirety of this
Yes.
movie, when they talk about him, he's either a claymation what happened to him, or he's somebody who had his entire top part of his body bitten off by a shark. And when he speaks, blood spurts out of his esophagus.
Oh, that rules.
So it's like they were trying
Yeah,
to
he
make a
shoved
point.
onto the soul train, bitten by a shark.
They're trying to make a point. And an actor who's a large part of my childhood, who's in a lot of movies I really liked, it's hard to think of him. Well, in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he wasn't a great person.
No, but you didn't think he was a pederast.
Pederasty. Google it. Anyway, let's get out of here. It has been a lovely year of the DG podcast. Hopefully we'll survive into the next one to watch new content, complain about it, and just basically be grumpy about everything that comes out because we're unhappy with the world.
That's right. That's us.
As is our want. We are going to get out of here, everybody. Thanks for coming along. See ya. Goodbye.
Bye.
Outro.
Later.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DG Podcast or on Instagram at Distracted Gamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.